Richard's going to have to leave, and I have something for him. He's in a real band. I'm in kind of a band called the Cartridge Family. We do political parody, and I'm going to give him all our repertoire if he wants it. We do a song called Wake Up Little Uzi. And it's yours if you want it. We do The Little Armed Lady from Pasadena. She always smells a little like that Hoppy's cleaner. She's going to bag a bad guy sooner or later with her 9mm Glock with a compensator. And of course you can have Miguel row your coke ashore. So if you want those songs, they're yours. I know he has to leave, so I gave them to him first. Good luck. You got it. I'll send you the lyrics. I have your band, so thanks very much. Before I start, I discovered a problem with the gun safety rules, and I have this many gun guys in the audience. I want to run this by you. The first gun safety rule, basically treat every gun as if it's loaded, right? Second gun safety rule is always point a gun in a safe direction. Don't let the muzzle cover anything you're not willing to destroy. I'd like to suggest that that safety rule is flawed. Where would you point a gun in a room like this? There is no safe place. In an urban environment, which is where we almost always are, there is no safe place to point the gun. No safe place. The ground, this is concrete. Up, there is no safe place. I suggest that that rule needs a little improvement. I want you to think about that. I'll be here till noon today. I think the only safe place for a gun, the second rule needs a little rework. The second rule ought to be this. A gun should always remain holstered until ready to use. Now that's only for a handgun. Long guns present a different problem. And I just thought this up, and I'm breaking this news or this idea here at GRPC. I want you to think about that. I'll be here till noon. Talk to me about it. The second rule has a little bit of a flaw. There is no safe way to point a gun. Think about that. Okay, let me get started. Is anybody in here pro-gun? I can't hear you. Is anybody in here pro-gun? I still can't hear you. Is anybody pro-gun? I think that's a bad idea too. And here's why. And this is all pop culture. And you want to change hearts and minds. The people who hate guns, and that's maybe a third of the population, although the media makes it look like it's the majority. The people who hate guns think guns are bad and evil and the devil's work. They hate guns, they think the correct position is to be anti-gun. If you're pro-gun, then you're the devil. You're doing the devil's work. Guns are bad. You should be anti-gun. If you say you're pro-gun, you lose that argument from the get-go. You're pro-gun, that's bad. I think you're pro-rights. You're pro-rights. What does that make them? Anti-rights. Who wins that argument from the start? You're pro-rights, they're anti-rights. They're anti-self-defense. They're anti-freedom. Who wins that argument? You do. My suggestion is you change your language. There are a stack of these outside, the gunlaws.com catalog. In the back of this is a politically corrected glossary with words you should be using. You should never say pro-gun. When somebody says to you, are you pro-gun? Meaning, are you one of those evil people? You look them in the eye and you say, well, I'm pro-rights. How about you? All of a sudden, they are stuck. And you win that argument. Pro-choice? The same thing, pro-choice, pro-life. They do this to us all the time. Here's another one. Do you have an assault weapon? Now, you guys are bright enough to figure this out, even though they want you to think you're a bunch of dumb, knuckle-dragging gun bubbas. Assault is a kind of behavior. It is not a kind of hardware. Assault weapon? When they say, Alan, do you own any assault weapons? Well, I have some household firearms. The same kind of firearms you'd find in any American household. Of course, in our case, some of them are belt-fed and water-cooled. And you win that argument too. They want to know if you have a handgun. They have vilified the word handgun, which they always call a semi-automatic handgun, because a lot of them think that means machine gun. You should never say handgun. I never say handgun anymore. I say sidearm. Sidearm is neutral and has no bad connotation, and I have a sidearm. Now, I know your permits say concealed, and you like to talk about concealed, but concealed sounds like you're hiding something. A criminal conceals something. You have something to hide. I'd like to suggest you carry discreetly. Discreet carry is the civilized norm. Discreet carry. We have so many words in this politically corrected glossary in the back of this, and you can go to gunlaws.com and read the entire politically corrected glossary, and you will change your language, and things will change. You will start winning your debates. You'll start talking about carrying a sidearm discreetly, and you will start winning those debates. Now, Peggy made a classic mistake, and I've heard everybody here talking about being pro-gun this and pro-gun that, instead of being pro-rights this and pro-rights that, and we would change the debate right there. She talked about the, I don't even want to say the word, about the Batman movie massacre. The Batman movie massacre. The guy dressed like the Joker. They miss the irony. They refuse to do this, and the media won't change, but we can. They miss the irony. These people were sitting there waiting to watch a blood-drenched massacre, and got to witness a blood-drenched massacre. We're training our kids to be assassins. And then they become assassins, and we scratch our heads. It is not a mystery. Let me tell you, when I grew up, you could buy a gun in a comic book and have it delivered by mail. Guns were more accessible when all us over 25-year-olds were kids. You could buy a gun through the mail. There was no FBI. There was no paperwork. There were no state line limits. There were no age limits. You bought guns through comic books, in the grocery store, in the hardware store. Guns were more available, easier when we were kids and we didn't have massacres. What changed? The movies, the video games, the popular culture. Kids brought guns to school. You got educated about guns. The principal, the teachers, we all knew about guns. Half the school, half the homes in America had guns, still have guns. Now a kid graduates from school, he doesn't know what kind of gun to buy. He doesn't know what guns are. He only knows the blood-drenched massacres in the movies and the video games, and now we're having massacres and they don't know what happened. They want you to think that it only happens here. They have as many public shootings in Europe, as John Locke pointed out yesterday, as we have here, but they don't tell you this. So you get a distorted view of what's going on. And it's because of the media. The media is the missing link, and they're hiding it from you. They are hiding it from you. It's the Batman movie massacre. Anytime you discuss it, do not besmirch an American city by calling that massacre by the name of the city. It's the Batman